Hello students, today we are going to start with the topic Manchester comes to India. In that we will learn how the Indian cotton textile was affected by Manchester entering India and who were the early entrepreneurs of our country. Manchester comes to India. In 1772, Henry Patola, an official of the East India Company, said that demand for Indian textile could never reduce due to its fine quality. In 1811-12, the share of cotton textile industry was 33% of India's export. By 1850-51, it was more than 3%. In the 19th century, textile industries in England developed and industrialists pressurized the government to impose import duties on cotton textiles so that Manchester goods could sell in Britain without facing any competition. At the same time, industrialists persuaded the East India Company to sell British manufactures in the Indian market. At the end of 18th century, there had been virtually no import of cotton piece goods into India, but by the 1870s, cotton import from England was over 50% of the value of the Indian import. Now we come to the problems faced by the Indian weavers. As you all know, when Manchester came to India and it took over the market, what were the problems faced by the Indian weavers? Indian weavers face following two types of problems at the same time. That is, their export market collapsed. They did not have a market where they could export the goods. The local market was flooded with Manchester goods, that is, goods which were imported from Britain, produced by machines. Cotton goods were so cheap that Indian weavers could not easily compete with them. By 1860s, they faced a new problem. They could not get sufficient supply of raw material which was sent to England for the industries after American Civil War. The price of raw cotton shot up and Indian weavers were forced to pay exorbitant prices. In most of the cases, they were unable to pay. By the end of 19th century, Indian weavers got a blow when textile manufactories were set up in India, flooding market with machine-made goods. It had become very difficult for the weavers to survive in this atmosphere. Then we will see what all the factories that came up in India. Cotton and jute mills were first to be established in India. The first cotton mill was set up in 1854 in Bombay. The first jute mill was set up in 1855 in Bengal. Till 1862, 4 mills were set up with 94,000 splinters and 2,150 looms. In North India, the Elgin mills were started in Kanpur in 1860s. The first cotton mill of Ahmedabad was set up in 1861. By 1874, the first spinning and weaving mill of Madras began production. Most of these industries were set up by Indian entrepreneurs. Let us see who were the early entrepreneurs. From the late 18th century, the British in India began exporting opium to China and took tea from China to England. Many Indians became junior players in this trade, providing finance, procuring supplies and shipping consignments. Having earned through trade, some of the businessmen had vision of developing industrial enterprise in India. Some of them are: first, Dwarkanath Tagore. He was a leading trader of Bengal. He accumulated his wealth through China trade. Before he turned to industrial investment, he set up 6 joint stock companies in 1830s and 40s. Though his enterprise sank in the 19th century, yet he showed way to many Chinese traders who later became successful industrialists. Then we have second Dinshaw Petit. He was a Parsi entrepreneur and was the founder of the first textile mills in India. Now we have a third one, that is Jamshedji Narswahanji Tata. He is generally accepted as the father of Indian industry. He had accumulated his wealth partly from exports to China and partly from raw cotton shipments to England. Then we have fourth, Seth Hukamchand. He was a Marwari businessman who set up the first Indian jute mill in Calcutta, that is Kolkata now, in 1917 and traded with China. Then we have Birlas. The Birlas belonged to the Marwari group who had established a business in cotton dealership. Now we also had some merchants from Madras traded with Burma, while others had link with Middle East and East Africa. There were some commercial groups who operated within India, carrying goods from one place to another, transferring funds between cities and financing traders. When opportunity came, many of them set up factories later on. So this is all for today, students. Tomorrow we are going to start with the colonial limitation over Indian merchant.